I'm Tom Piercy, and RAM started in 2005 as a composers collective, and they would hire musicians to play RAM composers' pieces. And 2006, so their second year, they asked me to play, and then kept asking me to play their pieces. And then it turned into a composers and performers collective because they kept asking the same performers. It enabled the performers to have a little bit more say so, and also using our abilities when it was restructured that way. And so that was a great turning point. And then there was a big changeover in the board, the administration, and then the pandemic happened and gave us a breather, an enforced breather where we did nothing. There was this uh, discussion between the founders and some of us uh, players and composers whether to even continue RAM when we were coming out of the pandemic. And Alan Schultz is the founder, and he really wanted it to continue. I thought it was. There were other composers and players said, yes, it's worth it. So they, as the artistic director and also the executive director, was like, okay, we will build. It felt like building a new organization, even though we had people like Seth who'd been around quite a while and composers. Some people had left. We asked them to please come back. And so in the spring, we had 9 concerts, and that includes the Queen's New Music Festival, 16 premieres. We played the work of 32 composers, and we had 29 performers, and bringing in new composers like Zhihua and saying, here's their instrumentation for this concert. Do you want to write for this?
Yeah, so my name is Zhihua Hu. Yeah, and I am the composer and sometimes play piano as the role of a pianist in random access music. Yeah, I very much enjoy that I composed the piece and I play the piece by myself and work with different musicians in the group. The random access music kind of a little bit like closed, temporarily closed. But when it's go back, the name of the first concert they call it like Reimage. Yeah, I love the name because I also have the piece. The name is Reborn. Yeah, because I was like very frustrated before the COVID. After COVID very burst out, I was like, oh, wow. I feel where I can now. I really wanted to compose something new, and a lot of new things happen, new job. So I had the piece Reborn, and the moment that usually I think the music creation could be by emotion sometimes and the intuition and sometimes by logics. And a lot of moments I was like in the midnight or subway, I had the melody first. And I really cherish this moment. So, I had the music first, then the lyrics. It's hard to find it and hard to match. So I have to write the lyrics and words by myself. Uh, you know, Actually, I don't usually show or wanted to express the fragile part, but I really think why not? Because now is a COVID. It's still a lot of people are suffering. Because sometimes I don't dare to do. I think this is my people might feel interesting because usually we wanted to show how powerful and strong.
talk about RAM. So, who first wants to tell me what does RAM stand for? Zhihua?
Random access music.
Random Access Music
Hmm.
and Queen's New Music Festival.
What does that title mean for you and for audiences that are going to come and see you guys?
That they should expect the eclectic. That the diversity of voices that we present is from all different stylistic standpoints of the 21st century. We're not coming from an exclusively, say, academic, post-tonal perspective. We're not minimalist or totalist. We have people who do electronics. We do people who are involved. We have people like Tom who are involved in world musics and non-Western instruments. That we encompass the entirety of what is possible in the New York scene for chamber music.
Yeah, and it's been nice that random and eclectic, in other words. So it could be the eclectic access,
Hmm.
but also the access that we are accessible to musicians, the performers. Uh, we've had all different types come in and play with us and for us and in the festival, and also the composers. And in going out uh, looking for composers to join the group, one of the nice things was that we did not have to find composers that were, say, similar to the founders of this organization. It could be all different types, which as a performer is really nice because you don't know what type of music you're going to get. And also, even within a composer, like Jihua's music, some of it can sound like it's from a Broadway musical, and then others it can sound, especially we played a trio last year that included koto and clarinet and hichiriki. So because of the koto itself and the hichiriki, it had this Eastern aesthetic to it.
And so,
Right. For me, I would think this is no limit. The word like random access. There is no limitation. No, a lot of possibility. Like welcome a lot of different kind of composer and do what kind of style. Maybe you are mixture. Maybe you are electronic. Maybe kind of mixture. Even like mixed the Western and East. You know. So for me, the random could be variety of style, music style that musicians, composers, and perform could communicate and submit, show it to the audience. And the access is the way to that music festival. Is
Hmm.
like we have a call for scores, right? Call for scores, and besides the random composers and performance, there are other new faces, maybe from like throughout different countries. So it's like a lot of possibilities, and everyone like communicate their style of music and try to mix with Western audience. It's very welcome.
Oh, if I may add something else about the accessible or the access part, uh, audience accessibility. First of all, we perform in Queens, where a lot of musicians live, but which gets so little notice from classical music organizations. So we're trying to go where people are. I think it's important to remember that audience accessibility doesn't just derive from writing pieces with a pop flavor. That the intimacy of the experience of empathizing with the musicians who are so close to you, that is part of accessibility too. That there is no one style, and that the most complex music, the most rigorous music, can be accessible if it's performed with conviction. And so, by juxtaposing all these different styles, we provide audiences with something that we hope makes all of these different works and all of these different composers more human.
Jiwa mentioned call for scores. One of the things I like the most and very proud of with RAM is our call for scores to pick a winner and honorable mentions, and that we perform at the end of the year, usually on the festival, is that they are completely anonymous. They come into one person, and then any sort of identifying stuff is taken off and then given to those of us who are listening, and we get all types of music. And it's great to start that way because it is absolutely just the music that starts the relationship. And so it's been nice to have that blind call. And in other organizations where I'm involved in a call, I'm always pushing for it to be completely blind. I just think it is a better system, and I have yet to see any drawbacks to it.
And if I may say something about that, this is, to me, where this also goes to accessibility, where diversifying the juries is important to bring people from other musical and social perspectives into the room that chooses. So it isn't just, say, a group, a clique of, I don't know, Columbia composers choosing
Right.
according to their preferences. You might have someone who came from downtown, another person who did work in Ghana, and all of these people, not only is it likely that they have different musical backgrounds, they also likely have different ethnic, gender backgrounds, and that is where you get your diversity. If not from eliminating blind competitions, because the blind competition is the fairest way to choose, provided the jury itself has that diversity.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Making sure that there is diversity, and but always based on, and it is not a quota system. If I've got 9 pieces, I'm not ticking off boxes. But I try to cast this wide net, as you said, of different styles, different ages, and different everything to come up with a good program of good music that will be played well. Again, the random part of it.